I'm Dave Baker.
And I'm Andrew Price.
Welcome to Deep Cuts, the podcast where we pick a topic and walk you through the ins, the outs, and the nitty-gritty so that you can appear like an interesting and idiosyncratic person at your next forced social function. Today's topic is...
Yasuke.
Who was Yasuke? Well, he was a black man who escaped slavery and became the first non-Japanese samurai.
Act 1. Born to be a badass, just not yet. So this is the story of a guy who not only broke the mold, but melted it down and turned it into a samurai sword. Because apparently that's how Yasuke likes his molds. Forget your tired old stories of medieval knights, Roman emperors, or anyone with a title that involves the word lord. We're heading to feudal Japan, but we're bringing along a man who, quite frankly, had no business being there, except that, he absolutely did and made the whole world better in doing so. Before we hop on a 16th century boat to Japan, let's get to the heart of what made Yasuke's journey not just improbable, but downright legendary. And this is a story so singular and amazing that it's been the subject of movies, anime, and whispered legends in izakayas across Japan. Let's start at the beginning. Yasuke was born somewhere in Africa in the mid-16th century. Historians can't quite agree on which country he hailed from. Was it Mozambique, Ethiopia, or somewhere in between? Let's be honest, geography was a bit more flexible back then. In any case, Yasuke was captured during one of the frequent slaving raids that plagued many African regions during the 1500s. The Atlantic slave trade was in full swing by this point, and countless men, women, and children were swept up in its brutal current. Yasuke, though, wasn't destined for the Americas. Instead, he was handed over to Portuguese traders operating in the Indian Ocean. He eventually ended up in the service of Jesuit missionaries, a common fate for enslaved Africans under European control at the time. It's also hard to ignore the unique turn Yasuke's experience took when he was introduced to a Jesuit named Alessandro Valignano. Valignano wasn't your average missionary. He was a bigwig in the Jesuit order and had the unenviable task of overseeing the Catholic mission in the East. His job was to spread Christianity in a part of the world that had never seen a crucifix and probably didn't care much for one either. Valignano, however, wasn't about to stroll into Asia, throw up a few crosses, and expect conversions. No, this man was a master of adaptation and cultural diplomacy. He understood that imposing Western customs and religion on Japan wouldn't get him anywhere. He needed to blend in, to respect Japanese customs if he was to have any success. So naturally, he took Yasuke with him. I mean, before we even get into the story and to be clear,
colonialism, bad.
Yeah.
Spread of religions, spread of religious indoctrination, bad.
Yeah, all bad, but more importantly, or more meta-textually, first and foremost, I don't want to dwell on this type of stuff too much because I want this to be more of a celebration of who he was and not just wallowing in black trauma of just look how fucked up this was or whatever. That's something that maybe isn't our place to do. But I just it's got to be acknowledged at least in the beginning or at least once that reading through this it's all very fascinating. But you're just looking at this thing of this man who was taken from somewhere in Africa that nobody even knows because he was so fundamentally stripped of his own identity and heritage and culture that there's not even record of what specific country or town or whatever he was from. It's just he was from Africa, a continent. That'd be crazy if you were just where are you from, Dave? And you're just North America. That's insane. But also just this Rube Goldberg machine of events of he was taken by the Jesuits and he was taken here to Portugal and then he was intercepted by this Jesuit who was trying to go to Japan to spread Christianity. And it's it's so horrifying, the idea that a person can be so stripped of their agency that they're fucking ping-ponged around the earth out of their own control. This isn't an adventurer who's I'm going to explore the world. Oh, let me put on my weird hat with the big thing on the top and the front and the back thing and get my blunderbuss. No, he was just all right, where are we going? What the fuck is happening? And these people were just come here, you property of mine. Like it's insane. It's fucking insane that this just the beginning of this, just how he ended up in Japan is insane.
I have two things to say that. One, it's called a pith helmet.
Shut the fuck up. All right, no, this is over. This is over. This episode is fucking over. Turn off the cameras.
It's called
crew that we have.
It's called a pith helmet.
It's time. You know what? This calls for a break sponsored by Coca-Cola.
It'd be one thing if he was an adventurer or some sort of colonialist person and became a samurai and, did the dances with wolves thing. There's a reason why that trope happens, because it's impressive to assimilate into another culture and to absorb it and learn the positive lessons of it, while also being a convenient narrative tool to teach ignorant Americans about other cultures. I'm not saying it's good, but it's fascinating that this person endured all this trauma and then objectively rose above it and became this like soaring phoenix of accomplishment that we're still talking about him 400 years later.
Yeah, which is, like I said, I want to focus on that, but also the circumstances that led to that are just so fucked up that I can't even like process it.
Yeah, totally.
Like the idea that you would be just taken from everything you've ever known out of your control, and then like, yeah, it's great that you did something with it this profound, to the point where in 2024 or whatever it was, they, some people are making video games about you. But the fact that it was all done without his consent, and it's all bad. Like, like enslaving people is bad, but this is like a particularly profound version of it, where it's not just like, oh, you have to like work on this farm and do stuff for me. It's like, I'm going to just like take you all over the world. It's just something about that just really puts this really dark, twisted point on how fucked up this is
100%
for me.
Yeah.
Also, before you say anything, and before the people who watch the podcast at home say anything, yes, I know these are red. This is temporary. I got new glasses, but much like the oppression Yasuke experienced,
yeah, expand on that for me. I think you're onto something. What was that again?
The glasses frames that I've been getting for like 15 years. Every time I get new glasses, I just order the same exact frames. They're called, just even more to hammer home this comparison. They're called the Explorers. The frames are called the Explorers. They discontinued them. After like 15 years, they discontinued them. All they had left was just the leftover stock of red frames, which I'm assuming they had them left over because nobody bought them. And so I got these as a backup, just in case. I didn't like the new ones. And I also ordered I found some new similar frames and ordered those in a actual color that I wanted, and those haven't arrived yet. So these are just my backups. They're just temporary. By the time the next episode comes out, I will be back in black. I hit the sack. I know, I'm glad to be back. So it's, it's all,
how
the similarities, it's like
just endless. You know how whenever you get a new haircut and the haircut is like almost good, people go, oh man, your hair is so nice. Glasses are nice.
Yeah, no. I mean, I already am aware, because we got back. We were in.
I'm fucking around. I think you look good in them.
I mean, I don't like it. I think they look fine, but I don't like color. I don't like different colored glasses.
The thing I will say is, I think they look nice on you. I think they give you a little bit more. You are a mid-tier product designer at Apple look.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's exactly the vibe, and I don't like that vibe. These are
like, you're the type of guy who goes into a meeting and goes, can we shave about 7 pixels off that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be thought of like that.
Yeah.
Whenever
Well, it's too late. I know you. I do think of you like that.
I mean, that is me, but I don't want that to be that's me.
That's the
mechanically,
worst. Yeah, yes.
But I don't want that to be my vibe.
Right. Yeah. You're. What is your desired vibe?
I mean, my desired vibe is just the classic black frames, baby.
Yeah, but what does that mean to you? Because to me, your vibe is Andrew's Dozen, right? That's what I think of when I think of you.
I want my vibe to be like...
Which is a reference to the fact that when we used to work in the same company together, Andrew would come in every other week with a bunch of dozen. He would bring 13 donuts, a dozen more or less, and then he had 2 specific ones that he always ate, and he got pissed off if somebody else ate them, and he would do the same bit every day, which is called, I brought an Andrew's Dozen, everybody. Fucking a dozen donuts and 2 jelly donuts, for me, or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. Like, I want my vibe to be neurotic Mr. Rogers with a slightly more scatological sense of humor. That's the vibe I want.
That's pretty accurate to who you are.
I don't want
that is
Tim Cook's assistant.
Yeah,
vibe.
you're Tim Cook in training with these glasses. My vibe is more like guy you're surprised hasn't been canceled from a hardcore band in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And it's only through the power of editing.
Well, no, mine's the like you meet me and you're like, wow, that guy, he actually is like really nice, but I come off like an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't I know it? Yeah.
Which would you rather? Would you rather be a nice person who everyone thinks is an asshole, or an asshole who is everyone thinks is nice?
Oh, the first one, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I have. We're getting way off topic now, but that I have a very specific opinion about that because I think that a lot of people. Number one, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of celebrity culture or something about like the way our society has formed around like manners and politeness or whatever. But I feel like society fundamentally values the wrong type of thing in a person, which is like valuing somebody that like feels nice, and that's like very surface level. It's like bubbly personality, kind of like, I get it. Socially lubricated. The way that they speak to people, and people like that can be like monsters.
Yeah, you just want to be up next to someone and get really lubricated.
But somebody can have like kind of a gruff personality, not be super charismatic, and be like a very kind, helpful person in like actual, real, substantial ways. And then people don't value that because they're just like, oh, like that guy's kind of like off-putting or whatever, or like that, the resting bitch face.
Right. Do you think you have resting bitch face?
But I was talking about more. I mean, yes, I do. But I was talking about more of just like the actual like misogynist trope about resting bitch face, and like how women who don't like smile all the time are regarded as like bitchy or shrewy or whatever, which is like total bullshit.
We should just get back to it.
When I stopped to acknowledge my glasses change, I didn't expect it to turn into a fucking Friars Club roast.
But you love that. You love that, don't you? Isn't that your vibe? You're always just like, Dave, we gotta give people what they want. Have you ever noticed that this guy looks like if a lumberjack got squeezed inside of a animatronic suit at Chuck E. Cheese?
I love that.
Like you would be like Charles Entertainment Cheese if he had a part-time job as a lumberjack.
That's great to me. That sounds great to me.
I mean, it kind of does to me too. The problem is I'm not cool enough to be Charles Entertainment Cheese. I'm like the guy on the piano in the corner.
Yeah, you're the fucking chef.
Yeah, I suck.
Pepito or whatever.
Yeah, that shit's not cool. You know who's a good chef? Probably Yasuke.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That guy probably was like slicing and dicing.
That dude was working with those shiitake mushrooms.
You think he was making sushi, but it was like cool, like Nigerian or Ethiopian influenced?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's the thing is like, Korean fried chicken, which is like a very popular thing, and it's super popular in South Korea, obviously, but it's recently become like a big craze here, and people like a lot of South Korean food recently, but specifically fried chicken. The reason why Korean fried chicken exists is because during the Korean War, the black army officers taught the Korean officers how to make fried chicken, and then they just kind of took that. So like the Korean fried chicken has a direct lineage from American black American soul food. So he was definitely doing that. Japan in the 1500s was still relatively isolated from the rest of the world. While there had been some contact with European traders and missionaries, mainly Portuguese and Dutch, the sight of a black man was practically unheard of. Yasuke, in this sense, was a living anomaly. But more than just being a curiosity, he was a symbol of something new, the growing interconnectedness of the world. Here was a man who had traveled from Africa to India and now to Japan, all before the advent of modern travel. Yasuke's presence was as much a testament to the shifting tide of global trade and cultural exchange as it was to his own remarkable survival. During this period, in the era of feudal Japan, Japan as a nation, as a society, was completely isolated from the rest of the world, essentially. And it's interesting because after sort of like colonialism of the British, visiting Japan and bringing a lot of their culture and kind of intermixing with them, they kind of like hyper colonialized to the point where they just adopted a lot of Western culture into their society. But before this, they were completely cut off and they had like very little knowledge of anything outside of their specific island.
Yeah.
So I guess whenever Yasuke showed up, they literally thought he was like painted. Like they thought he was in blackface, basically.
Which is pretty wild. But also, it's when you put yourself in that perspective of like you're in a country where everyone is homogenized, they look the same, you're all the same race, you're scared of the outside world, and there's a very strict dogmatic code like for living existence, and then a guy shows up that's like 1.5 feet taller than everybody with skin that's very dark. It's it's understandable why there would be a xenophobic like, oh my god, what the fuck? Obviously you don't want that.
Yeah.
You want people to be accepting. You want people to extend the good faith of like, oh, we're all one species. But like it was the 1600s, people were vile.
Yeah. And also, it's like, it's not necessarily what the reaction is. Like, if you see something that you've just literally never seen in your entire life, like having an initial reaction of what the fuck is not necessarily the worst thing. It all is down to like what you do after that. Like
right.
what is your actual, like, let me take a second and like think about this. And then what's my next step? That's where the important part of it comes in.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know if Japan necessarily nailed that either. But
no. Yeah.
But it is really fascinating. I've been playing. This was a while ago actually, but I was playing I forget the name of it exactly, or the name of the character. But have you ever played the Phoenix Wright series?
Yeah.
So there's
Objection.
there's the Phoenix Wright series where it's Phoenix Wright and he lives in I think 1980s Japan or maybe 1990s, I forget. And he's a lawyer, and the whole game is like it's like a visual novel, and you're in a courtroom like being a lawyer basically. But there is like a prequel series that they did, which I'm blanking on the name of, but it is essentially a great grandfather of Phoenix Wright and
JoJo's Bizarre Wright Venture. Basically,
yeah, it feels very much like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure actually. But he's a lawyer who lived in the 1500s in feudal Japan, and it's stories about this character who is a lawyer in feudal Japan during that time. And there's a lot of interesting historical stuff in the game where they talk about the fact that like the British brought law to Japan. Like they didn't have the system of lawyers and holding trials for people, and the British brought that to them. And they basically British people came and they established like schools within Japan, and they like taught Japanese people how to be lawyers. And they and also as like almost completely non sequitur, there's one part of the thing where they're talking about cheese, and they're just like, oh yeah, this new thing called cheese. And I looked into it, and apparently that's true. Like in the 1500s, Japanese people didn't know what cheese was. They had never had it. They'd never heard of it. The British people were just like, here's this cheese. And they were just like, whoa, cheese? And then they became obsessed with cheese. But yeah, it's really,
I'm not obsessed with cheese, but for
yeah,
someone like
we
you
know that. Yeah,
who
that's
is
exciting
obsessed,
for me. Yeah.
yeah, for you that must be exciting.
Yeah, I don't know if you told this on the show before, but there was a time when we worked at the same company, and there was a guy who started working at the company, and he was like a cheese connoisseur. Like he had like an Instagram channel where he talked about cheese, and he would like go to like cheese shops and get cheese and review it or whatever. So he started bringing different cheeses to the office. And then like during lunch, he'd be like, I've got all these cheeses. And every day it was a different type of cheese. And it was like all these exotic cheeses. Like one of them was a sheep cheese, and it was like shaved with this little spinny little blade thing. And then one day it was like this special type of like aged goat Gouda or so. It was like all these different, like one of them was like, oh, you dip this one in like a jalapeno jelly. And I had the time of my life. I was like, this is amazing. I was excited every day for the different types of cheeses. Whereas you were just like, oh, no, thank you. I don't want any cheese. And I was just like, what the fuck, Dave? Have some of this fucking cheese.
I'm glad that you got your cheese. That was nice for you.
Well, I mean, I was like a kid in a candy store, except for I was an adult man in a cheese store. And apparently the Japanese were that way as well. Whenever the British introduced them to cheese. Do
we think Yasuke would have liked cheese or did like cheese? No, because this is 1600, so he probably saw cheese, right?
Yeah, he probably knew what cheese was. Yeah. I find that fascinating. I find that fascinating. That they had such an isolation, like that was kind of what they were about. Like the feudal Japanese system was this closed system, and they very much, and kind of still to this day, they kind of don't like outsiders. Like that's kind of like an issue that people talk about with Japan, is there's a little bit of like, we don't like non-Japanese people here, and some of that is just kind of like xenophobia that's more rooted in like, we just don't like people who don't speak Japanese because we can't communicate with you and we don't want to learn English. And some of that is like a little bit of racism where they're just like, yeah, we don't like black people. But it's still fascinating, this idea that they had this closed system, and then one day, for better or worse, it was like ripped open.
Yeah.
And now they've like kind of injected like global society into their veins to the point where like, they have all these crazy societal traditions that are very Western focused. Like on Christmas, there's a big thing in Japan about getting a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
And like it's so popular that like you have to reserve your bucket a month in advance, or maybe it's like a year in advance. Like it's so crazy that you have to reserve a bucket of chicken super far in advance, or else you're not going to get it. And then you still have to wait in a line that's like around the block.
I will say, when I was in Japan and I had KFC, that shit's not KFC. Like, it's amazing. It's so good.
I'm sure it's
so good.
But that's the thing, is like they do global culture, but they do it better.
Yeah.
Like I know that's a very weeby white guy thing to say.
No,
but they do it better.
They do it way better. It's
better.
not Kentucky Fried Chicken. Last time I had Kentucky Fried Chicken was probably a decade ago, and I remember eating it and being like, why do humans eat this? This is horrible. Which was near my reaction when being offered all of those cheeses.
The cheese was amazing.
The cheese.
That was like the only valuable thing that guy ever did.
I support you, and I support him, and I support all of the cheese-loving people in our audience. I'm not opposed to cheese. I like cheese on stuff. I just don't know that I need to go out and eat exclusively cheese. Like, I just don't need that. I'm just over here in the corner.
You kind of are hurting me. You're breaking my heart a little bit.
But that's why we do this podcast, because we both love to be tortured.
Yeah. Yeah, just two sadomasochistic souls. But what really caught the attention of the Japanese wasn't just Yasuke's appearance, it was his bearing. Descriptions of Yasuke emphasize his strength, height, and demeanor. He wasn't merely a servant to the missionaries, he carried himself like a warrior. And this didn't go unnoticed by the most important man in Japan at the time, Oda Nobunaga. And I mean, I don't know, here's the thing, this took place in the 1500s, so we don't have photographs, so we do have a painting of Oda Nobunaga.
Oda Nobunaga looks like the type of guy who, he's into some kinky stuff. He's into some stuff, you know? He's got some tics.
Yeah, he's got some. He's into some things. Those robes are hiding all of his scars and his little piercings.
Oda Nobunaga looks like the type of guy who invites you back to his boudoir, and then you have both the time of your life and you never want to go back there again.
Yeah. Oda Nobunaga looks like bald in the front, top knot in the back.
Oda Nobunaga looks like the type of guy whose perviness communicates 400 years through time due to a weird painting.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting because you got to wonder like how accurate any of these paintings are, because obviously when you have a painting, it's like, you know, you can pass over, you know, a couple shekels or whatever the hell type of money they're using to be like maybe just like 10% sexier.
Yeah,
so it's you know, you really don't know.
It's the 1500s equivalent of being like, can you Photoshop this weird stubble off?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you really got to question the accuracy. Like, does this guy look like this? Or
is this the painter trolling him? The painter's like, you didn't tip me, bro.
I'm gonna make him look like he's a freak.
I'm gonna make him look like he's a fucking perv.
Now, Oda Nobunaga wasn't your run-of-the-mill feudal lord. He was a man with a mission to unite all of Japan under his rule. And he was willing to break every tradition, upset every apple cart, and challenge every social norm to do it. He had no patience for the rigid class systems of old Japan, and he valued skill and loyalty over birthright. When Nobunaga saw Yasuke, he didn't see a curiosity. He saw a potential ally, a man who could help him in the quest for dominance. And when Nobunaga saw potential, he acted on it. Nobunaga took an instant liking to Yasuke. In a document historians have dug up, a Jesuit priest by the name of Ota, who had the good sense to keep a tidy journal of such matters, claimed that Nobunaga took Yasuke into his service, granting him a stipend, a house, servants, and even a sword. You know, the essentials any aspiring samurai would need to go through the day with both dignity and a slight air of menace. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, aside from like the weirdness of that, of like, oh, that guy's like dark colored, I'm gonna, you know, and aside from the fact that he's a fucking slave, like that's really interesting. The idea that like he saw, like he recognized.
He was like, oh, this dude's a badass.
Yeah,
like,
he recognized that he was a badass. Like it feels like GTA, like Grand Theft Auto, like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, or like that's a dumb frame of reference. It's because it feels like a crime movie. It feels like one of those like rags to riches stories that GTA is kind of riffing on.
It's the Carlito's Way. It's the Scarface.
Yeah, where there's this guy. And he has something about him. He has this X factor, and he's a low-level guy. He's not a made man. He's not high up. He's just like a kid. But like somebody sees him and is like, that kid's got something. And then he like gets pulled up through the ranks just by his charisma and his willingness to go the full, you know, way. And then just like some undescribable thing about him that just people are attracted to. And like, it's interesting that like this is that story.
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat similar to what happened with Mickey Cohen, right? The gangster in the 40s and 50s here in Los Angeles. He was just like a immigrant from Ukraine. He started working as like a bodyguard, you know, for the syndicate. And basically one of the upper mob boss guys was like, this Mickey Cohen guy, I think he's got something. Let's have him run our torture room in the bottom of the bar that is now the Comedy Store, you know?
Yeah. This Yasuke, he's got a little bit of something.
Give this motherfucker a top knot. Let's see what the fuck happens.
I'm doing this in place of a offensive Japanese accent.
Yo, get underneath these robes, girl.
Yo, Yasuke-san, get over here.
Yo, Yasuke-san, how many times I gotta tell you? Katana, two hands.
Listen, Yasuke, I'm your senpai now.
Listen, Yasuke, sake. Sometimes it's chilled, sometimes it's room temperature. Your choice.
This is like so many layers that I don't know if what we're saying is going to get us canceled or not. Like
100%. It's a Mobius strip of maybe this is offensive. I'm not sure.
But yeah, that's really interesting. That, I mean, it's funny because, you know, that like there's, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means that like just humanity or the human condition tends to have patterns in our culture, and even across, language divides, even, worlds apart, we all tend to like, our cultures tend to structure themselves in similar ways. But you see this a lot where like, all of the Japanese samurai movies of the 1940s and 50s were like adapted into Westerns in the 1960s and 70s. And because they had like this similar type of story and type of hierarchy to them, where like making a Western based on a Japanese feudal Japan samurai story was like a very easy transition.
Mad Max Australian, lawman story is the same thing. It can be a Western or it can be a samurai story. It's the same archetype, right?
Yeah, but so it's interesting to look at this and see like, oh yeah, this just feels like a contemporary American mafia story.
Yeah.
And obviously, Japan has the Yakuza, like they have their own version of organized crime. So it's not like crazy.
And all the guys, they talk like this.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? It's all of them.
Yakusei-san, come over to your senpai and give me a little bit of a bow. Listen, you're going to do this job, Yakusei. And if you don't do it right, you're going to be committing seppuku with the fishes. It's just like potentially offensive in like multiple different directions.
Yeah.
Or maybe it all just cancels itself out.
That's what I choose to believe. I choose to believe
that it cancels itself out. Now, we should pause here to address the question of the term samurai. It might seem a little strange to us today in an age where terms are as neatly categorized as a librarian's shelves. But in Yasuke's time, the term was more fluid, a bit like water. Well, okay, so Dave. We've already kind of gone into like pseudo cancelable tech territory. So I don't know if we need to be, we're not doing ourselves any favors. But you're looking at me, I'm looking at you. The viewer at home is looking at both of us. You know what this is about. You know the type of shit we're into. You know what we are, how
I thought I did, but now I'm like, what?
Our levels of interest in Japanese culture. You look at us, look at you.
I feel like I'm not.
I have a book about. I have a book that is the culture of Bushido on that bookshelf behind you as we speak.
Oh yeah, I see it here. It's called Touch of Evil. Orson Welles, director. Terry Comido, editor.
Yep, that is the screenplay for Touch of Evil, which is one of my top 4 favorite films, which we discussed in our Patreon exclusive bonus episode of our show called Deeper Cuts, where we listed our top 4 favorite movies of all time and discussed them. And Touch of Evil was one of the movies.
It was. There's the problem though. This is all reformatted. That's a bummer. But whatever.
It's written in like a novel form or something. Yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it. But I do love.
It's not in screenplay format.
I do love Touch of Evil. Touch of Evil is my Bushido. Will not get me canceled, I hope.
Yes, but my point being, Dave, when did you first hear about this story? What were your thoughts on the story? And also, like, what are your thoughts on like samurai culture in general? You
set me up. You set me up with this question. God damn it!
This is the whole.
I know it is, but just like there's no way to get out of this without looking like an asshole.
I know, but like, look at us.
I know. Okay, so all right.
I'm wearing red glasses.
Not my choice.
Yeah.
Not my choice. Okay, so here's the bullet pointed list. I lived in Japan for a little while. Not a little while. I didn't live in Japan. I was in Japan for a little while. I didn't live there. I worked on an anime that was produced there. I love Japanese culture. Shotaro Ishinomori and Katsuhiro Otomo are 2 of my artistic idols and have deeply informed my creative process and the way I draw physically. I like samurai stuff. I'm really interested in Japanese history, specifically the Edo period and also the Showa period. I really like the book Showa by Mizuguchi. Is that his fucking name? I can't think of the mangaka's name right now, but it's a long-running series about Showa history. Very fascinating. First time I heard about Yasuke, honestly, I don't know the first time, because he's kind of one of those like cultural oddities that you're just kind of like vaguely aware of, you know? So I'm not really sure the first time I encountered him. Probably maybe around the time Afro Samurai came out, because I was like into that show and I'm just aware of that stuff, and I would assume probably I saw like an article when that show.
Here's the thing, I guarantee it was that, because the way that I heard about Yasuke was Afro Samurai came out, it was on Adult Swim, right?
Yeah.
And
was it Spike maybe?
I think it was well, there's also Samurai Champloo, which I think that was Adult Swim. So yeah, it might have been Spike. I forget. There's two shows about a black samurai. Two anime shows about a black samurai. But that show came out and it was like it got really popular, at least with that crowd. I don't know if it was like necessarily like
It won an Emmy.
It wasn't like Rick and Morty popular, but it was like a thing people were talking about on the internet. And at that time, it was like somewhat early internet days. It wasn't like social media days or whatever. So you would go on to internet forums and message boards, and people would be talking about stuff. I remember specifically, we kind of had a conversation about this before we started recording, but I remember specifically that there was a lot of like edgelord, racist type guys that were going on. There were weebs, white dudes who were really obsessed with Japanese culture, who would go on these message boards and talk about how this was like bullshit and like, there's no, it's insulting to Japanese culture to have a black samurai and blah, 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 blah. And then there was like specifically in response to that was like, actually, there literally was a black samurai. And then people would post links to articles and stuff like that about Yasuke. So that's where I learned it from, was people like having a racist backlash to Afro Samurai, and then people being like, no, you're a fucking idiot. There really was a black samurai. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it must have been something along those lines for me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where you must have seen it from.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where I heard about it from. And I mean, I basically just ditto to everything you said. Like everything you said is just the same thing for me. I've got a book about the way of the samurai on my bookshelf from my period whenever I was in like high school, where I was like, I want to live by the samurai code.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was really obsessed with Shinya Tsukamoto in high school. So, oh wait, that's also something that you are into. Yeah. Fuck.
If I happen to be wearing my Tetsuo shirt, I'm not, but that would be cool if I could do that.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you can get my book, which is a comic called Deadbolt AI Private Eye, which is less based on my love of Japanese culture and anime and manga, and more based on my love of Philip K. Dick-esque philosophical science fiction. It's a story about a robot detective in the future who's solving crimes and dealing with emotional ennui and the pain of existence. You can get that by going to dapricerights.com. It's there for sale. You have anything to plug?
The Patreon, baby.
Well, go ahead. I was gonna let you plug your stuff and then get.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. I've got some comics. Mary Tyler Moore Hawk, Halloween Boy. You know what it is. But mostly, bro, we're talking about this Patreon. Okay, we launched a Patreon. We've been making the show. We got 240 odd episodes of the show. You like it. We like doing it. But it's hard out here for a pimp. You know. Will that get me canceled? I don't know. Maybe. It's hard. There's bills to pay. There's shit to do, and we need some help.
We got bills to pay. We got mouths to feed, and ain't nothing in this world for free.
Yeah, exactly.
There ain't no rest for the Davy.
That's me. I'm Davy, and man, I really could use some fucking rest.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a couple of custom messages from the senior sleuths. This first custom message we got is from our boy Robert Williams,
Ooh.
aka Robin Williams, aka Robbie Williams.
Robbie, Robin, Rob,
aka
Robert.
Rob Wills.
Rob Wills from The Secret of the Wills.
We'll just read this. I don't think he really had it. He basically didn't have a custom message. He said say whatever. But I'll just read the message that he did send. He said, "This is Robert from Idaho Falls, Idaho. I love you guys. Been listening to you guys while I'm at work or traveling somewhere. Even my wife loves listening as well. You gotta love a nice couples activity. The fact that we provide that is an honor."
Here's my question. You think somebody's fucked while listening to this podcast?
Oh, wouldn't you?
Haven't I?
I love how you guys are basically authentically you, from the very odd stories that I never knew about to the stories I've known. From your fun skits you do to just talking about the most random stuff. You guys are a breath of fresh air and quality that is missing in a lot of other podcasts out there. Just keep being you. Thank you.
Wow. Rob?
The greatest, the greatest of compliments.
Robert? Robin? Mr. Wills? Bruce Willis? What you talking about, Willis?
Return of Bruno.
Return of Bruno. Thank you, man. It's very nice. It means a lot. It's really cool. I appreciate you supporting us on Patreon.
Very, very nice message. It's very flattering that you listen to this with your wife. If
you guys want to send us photos of what you're doing while you're listening.
Is that related to the other question that you asked?
Maybe, but I phrased it in a way that wouldn't get me in trouble.
I mean, we're already done after this episode, so let's just let it all hang out.
All right. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's really cool that you listen to this with your wife. My wife has never listened to a single episode of this show. And then we also have Shannon Talty.
Just wanted to say that I love the pod. Super excited about all the new projects. Keep up the great work, guys. Long live the Longbreads. Man, Shannon, thank you so much for saying that.
She's an OG.
She's an OG. It's been a hot minute since the Longbreads, and you know what? I don't think I've laughed that hard in a long time.
Yeah, because long bread culture is still very, very present to us because we started referring to like a certain type of episode as a long bread, which is essentially when we do an episode where it's just a lot of riffing and us joking around, like a bit episode, we call those long breads.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually talked about long breads on the show in the canon of the show in a while. So like if you're talking about long breads, you're one of the OGs from back in like season 1 when we talked about long breads a lot.
Damn, Shannon Talty, big preach, man. Shannon, I got nothing. I was trying to do a thing.
Yeah,
with
you're
the
already
last
too
name.
canceled.
Let's not. Shannon, thank you very much.
I know
That's
I said
very nice.
let it all hang out,
Yeah,
but
let's
actually,
not.
I'm
But
having second thoughts now.
Not. Yeah. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate you. It's very nice that you're supporting the show. Be more like Shannon, everybody.
WWSD.
WWSTD. What would Shannon Talty do? not. God damn it! God damn it!
Let's do the rest of these member shout outs. Unfortunately, you don't have your screen, so you can't see these.
I'll just repeat after you.
So starting with a couple of new boys, the new boys in town, the new kids on the block. We got Jonathan Usri.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Hope that I said that right. Once again, if I pronounce your name incorrectly, you can just tell me. I have been corrected once or twice about the pronunciations, and a couple of times I thought I was pronouncing it wrong, and I was told that I was pronouncing it right. So it's just, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to pronounce Yasuke's name throughout this entire thing, so
That's true.
You really don't know what you're going to get.
Nope.
I've gone full Forrest Gump on this pronunciation game. But thank you so much, Jonathan. Hopefully we provide much value for you in your new endeavor as one of our backers. We got David Hedgecock.
Oh, my friend David Hedgecock. I love David Hedgecock.
Oh.
What?
He's somebody you know.
He is. He's the former publisher of IDW.
Oh, so I can't make fun of his name.
I love David Hedgecock. And you're being an asshole.
Because I was really excited about this one.
No, you're being an asshole to someone who is sweet and supporting us in our endeavor and is a
But
nice...
surely he knows.
He's gonna listen to this.
Surely
he's
knows.
going to listen to this. You know that, right? He listens to every episode. He texts me like, "Oh man, that bit you did," and I'm like, "I don't remember what that is, but yes."
Like if my name was Andrew Balls Dick, I wouldn't be like, "And don't you dare mock me."
You're that way already. What are you talking about?
I kind of am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you? I'm gonna get out in front of this. I know these glasses are fucking stupid. I know it. I'm getting out in front of it. I know.
Yeah, I texted you the other day because we got our Mystery Treehouse YouTube channel, and we've launched that, and we have like 4 videos up, which we'll maybe talk about in a second. But we both run the channel, so we both are in there. And whenever you go in and you respond to comments, you're just like, you respond mostly to the positive comments, and you're just like, thanks so much. That's so, I love this comment, and thank you so much for watching the video. And then even when people are like a little bit negative, you're just like, that's an interesting perspective. Thanks for listening to or watching the video. Thank you so much, or whatever. And I'm in there and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not right. You don't know what you're talking about. And so I texted you the other day, and I was like, people are just gonna think that like a schizophrenic guy runs this channel. Like, why is this guy sometimes really nice and then sometimes kind of mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got Vilmontis Steris.
Thank you, Vilmontis.
Another newer backer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We got Hugo Del Aguila.
Hugo, thank you.
Hugo, thanko. Another new follower. We got Tristan, which I think is another newer one. Yeah, they subscribed on October 25th. My brother's name is Tristan.
That's true.
And it's funny. It's simultaneously a very rare name that I've never really heard, except for the fact that growing up in my tiny little town of Roswell, New Mexico, which despite its fame from the alien thing, only has, well, I don't know, 20,000 people in it or something like that. My youngest brother, his name is Tristan Price, and there was another Price family in the town, and they owned a place called Price's Truck Stop, and they had a son named Tristan.
Damn, dude.
So
double Trist.
This very rare name that I've never heard outside of those 2 people and our new Patreon backer, but there was 2 people named Tristan Price in the town of Roswell, New Mexico.
Do you think that your Tristan Price and their Tristan Price secretly fell in love and had a tryst, and then they were held to account by their families due to rampant homophobia?
They were star-crossed lovers.
Yeah, and then they had to pay a price.
The Monahues.
They had to pay a price for their tryst as the Tristan Prices of the price of auto towing. Is that what you said it was? What did you?
Price's Truck Stop.
Price's truck stop. Absolutely.
That is directly what happened. It was a Shakespearean tale for the ages. In Roswell, New Mexico.
And then the end is one of them getting abducted by aliens, and so they can never be together.
Yeah. At the end, everybody gets abducted. That's the end of all the stories in Roswell.
Yeah.
It's abductions all the way down. We got Sleep Drifter.
Sleep Drifter.
Thank you so much, Sleep Drifter. We got the Jonathan Nagar.
Thanks, Jonathan Nagar.
We got Baked Beans Garage.
I love Baked Beans Garage. I laugh whenever I see that name pop up.
Liz Banks.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Ryan Logan.
Ryan Logs.
Justin Wood.
Justin, big appreciation, man.
Chic Vulgaris.
Oh, man. So much vulgar coming into that chic.
David Cartwright.
Into it.
Decky P,
one of my faves.
Emily Black,
good name.
Eddie,
dude.
Hallowed be thy name.
Eddie, hallowed be thy name.
Phi Jinda. Matthew Polito.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
Shannon Talty. Oh, we
Shannon Talty. We can do it again. Shannon Talty. WWSTD. Asbestos.
Brad Manier.
Ooh, Brad.
Chesty Red Nuts.
That is one we say to each other frequently.
Yep, we said it earlier. The Great Sea Moose.
Big Sea Moo.
The Batman Who Naps.
Seth.
Michael B. Miller.
We love Michael B. Miller.
I mean, speak for yourself.
Yeah, you don't, but I do.
Psygeek.
Psygeek.
Caden Parker.
Caden, thank you.
Mitchell Kilmer.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Jack Stratton.
Jack Stratton. Good strapping name, that.
Jason Hunter.
Oh, Jason, thank you.
Michael Lindquist.
Oh my gosh. The big man himself.
Your Vanilla Bee.
Your Vanilla Bee. Love it.
Andrew Rimt.
Ah, I saw him last night. We went to a Lakers game.
Wow, the call is coming from within the house.
Yeah. We won. We beat Wembanyama and the Spurs. I was shocked. And AR was out. Wild.
Might as well be speaking some dead language to me.
So there's one of the players on the Lakers right now. His name is Austin Reeves. Around these parts, we call him Hillbilly Kobe. He's a white guy with a southern accent. Amazing. He went undrafted because he wanted to play for the Lakers, and he's moved up from a role player to being basically like the Scottie Pippen of the team currently. And if he leaves, that motherfucker is going to be a superstar somewhere else, and I'm just praying that Rob Pelinka and these motherfuckers like keep him on the team, because him and Luka, it's, oh my god, when both of them are fucking hot, dude, it's lights out, baby.
The only thing I know about basketball is NBA Hangtime Jam for the PlayStation. A flying wiener.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to go to a game, we can go.
Sounds awful. I went to a work Christmas party when I was working for a company that was based in Canada for a while, and I went to a Raptors game.
I know.
And
you loved it.
That shit was boring as hell.
But here's the thing I'll say to you. In that scenario, were the people telling you the story of the season? Were they telling you who this player is, what that player is, why this is important?
No, I was sitting there. I sat there for the entire game next to one of my coworkers who the entire time vented about their wife.
Yeah, that sucks. But that's not what makes fun. That's not what makes going to a game fun.
Also, Drake was there. He was sitting courtside.
Not surprising. But like, if we went, obviously I would explain to you what was happening, why this is important, why that person is an asshole, why we love this guy. Like, Victor Wembanyama is like, he's an X-Man. He's 7'6", and he moves like a ballet dancer, and he has beef with the center for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who won the championship this year. And that guy's name is Chet Holmgren, and he's the like dorkiest shitty dude. But Victor Wembanyama saw this other 7-foot guy win the chip, and he was like, I will win. And so he went and studied with Shaolin monks and learned Kung Fu. I'm not shitting you. He went to France and studied with ballet dancers. Not shitting you. So now
he's just like the Buckaroo Banzai of basketball players.
He is Slender Man if Slender Man was a trained Shaolin monk ballet dance rock star guy who speaks like 5 languages.
Yeah, that's like what the RZA wishes he was.
Oh, 100%. They were San Antonio. They used to be really good in the 90s, and they've been good at various points since then. But currently, they won their first 5 games of the season straight in a row. It's the first time that's ever happened for the team. And we beat them by like this much last night. And they would have won, but Wembanyama filed out. Like, one of our guys, Marcus Smart, who just got traded to the team, stood underneath him and got trampled for 40 minutes. He just was like, I will put my body on the line. Like, what do I need to do for us to win? And Wembanyama was like, I'm going to dance into the lane. And he was like, not if I have anything to say about it. And just fucking, like, just for 40 minutes. It was crazy. At one point, he literally took the charge as he was falling. He looked at the ref and was just like, he's just like, are you going to call it? Are you going to call? I'm falling. I'm falling. It was amazing.
And Amber Tyndall.
Amber, we love you. Thank you so much.
We unfortunately will not have a 10-minute conversation about basketball inspired by your name, though.
No, sorry.
And now, back to the show. Act 2, The Samurai's Path. Now, there's a moment we need to pause and appreciate here. Samurai culture wasn't just about running around with swords and looking stoic while it rained, though that's a definite perk. It was a lifestyle steeped in discipline, honor, and a dash of borderline insane loyalty to one's lord. For Yasuke to be accepted into his culture, especially a foreigner and a former slave, was not only unprecedented, but borderline unimaginable. In other words, Yasuke wasn't just a footnote in history, he was the first page of a whole new chapter. When Nobunaga took Yasuke under his wing, he didn't just make him a glorified bodyguard. He gave Yasuke the status of a samurai. Now, in 16th century Japan, being a samurai wasn't just about wielding a sword and shouting dramatic lines before battle. It was a social rank, a position of power and respect that had to be earned through combat, loyalty, and mastery of martial arts. The samurai were Japan's elite warrior class, and their lives were governed by a strict code of conduct called Bushido, or the Way of the Warrior. For Yasuke to be inducted into this class was nothing short of revolutionary. Think about it. Here's a man who had come from a completely different world, one that the average Japanese person could scarcely comprehend, and yet he was accepted into the most exclusive club in Japan. This wasn't just an honor, it was a profound statement about Yasuke's abilities, his character, and the respect he commanded. There are numerous accounts of Yasuke participating in military campaigns alongside Nobunaga. One such campaign involved quelling rebellions and securing territories for Nobunaga's ever-expanding domain. Yasuke's role in these battles wasn't ceremonial. He fought, and by all accounts, fought well. He was part of Nobunaga's trusted inner circle, a warrior whose loyalty and strength were valued on the battlefield. There's a certain aspect of this that is it's like dehumanizing and demeaning in a way. It reminds me a little bit of the episode we did about the real life Beauty and the Beast. What was that guy's name?
Oh yeah.
It was like Peter.
We did two. It was a two-parter where part of it was about a woman who was abducted from Mexico because she had the or disorder where your body produces hair, and she became a sideshow freak and a dancer, and then ended up touring the world and eventually died in Russia.
Yeah.
And then the other one was this guy who got sold to the Spanish court.
Yeah.
Again, as basically like a pet, and they taught him to write and read as a joke.
Yeah, and it reminds me a bit of that in the sense that they basically brought him into Spanish royalty and let him live amongst the royals, like you said, as kind of a joke of wouldn't it be funny if this hairy dude was like a hoity-toity, socialite, and he lived amongst them, kind of for them to watch him and just see him behaving in that world as a funny thing, and also to do social experiments where they made some woman, a beautiful woman, have sex with him essentially, because they were just wouldn't it be weird if a hot girl was with this hairy guy? But the thing about it is that I think his name was Petrus Gonzalez.
Yeah, Petrus Gonzalez. Yeah.
The thing about it was that he was so smart and talented that he basically met them at every attempt at mocking him. To basically they were wouldn't it be funny if this hot girl was forced to be with this dude? And then he was such a stone cold charismatic king that he actually got this lady to fall in love with him, and they had a real marriage, and they had multiple children, and they had a loving relationship. And he actually he lived in this society, and it was supposed to be this joke, but he was so smart and so savvy that he actually navigated living this life to where everyone just kind of developed a respect for him. And and he basically maneuvered this into a place where they weren't just laughing and pointing at him. They were oh, this dude's he's legit. Petrus, he's one of us. And there was still always an element of he's slightly below us and we're kind of laughing at him, but he made such the best of it through his talents that he kind of turned what was supposed to be a life of mockery into a genuinely relatively good life for himself. And this kind of reminds me of that, where it's there's a dehumanizing aspect of it, where the reason why he was made a samurai was because essentially he was treated like a circus sideshow freak, where they were this guy, he's his skin is dark, and that's weird, and he's big and strong. Kind of the way that slaves are treated, where they're treated as chattel, workhorses. There's an aspect of it that's that. But again, Yasuke was so talented and so good at what he was doing that with working within this system as this sort of like joke, essentially, or like in his case, being used as cattle, basically, he was able to maneuver out of that and actually develop a respected position within this society as a samurai. It's still, like I said, there's no getting around the fact that this is fucked up and dark and he was a slave. But within that, it's super impressive that he was able to basically like turn that into like a relatively good life for himself.
Yeah, I mean,
through just like sheer will.
Sheer will of like, no, I will not be like defined by these circumstances. I'm going to find something I'm good at. I'm going to propel myself into this, this new scenario, like at a velocity that no one will even be able to question how impressive I am.
Yeah. It's just very impressive that he was able to spin it in that way. And it just speaks to his own skills and talent and like level of dedication. To basically just pull himself out of what could have been a very dehumanizing and humiliating situation and kind of make the best of it and forge a legacy for himself they're making fucking video games about him. And then there was the incident at Honoji. For those of you playing along at home, this is the part of the story where everything goes spectacularly wrong. Picture this. It's June 1582. Nobunaga is enjoying a quiet stay at a Kyoto temple, probably reflecting on his plans for domination and thinking about what's for dinner. Suddenly, his trusted general, Akechi Mitsuhide, turns traitor, launching a surprise attack. Nobunaga, caught off guard and knowing there's no escape, commits seppuku, thus ending his reign with a metaphorical exclamation point made of blood and tragedy. And Yasuke? Well, here's where things get murky. Some accounts suggest that Yasuke fought valiantly to protect Nobunaga, even after his lord had fallen. But ultimately, Yasuke was captured. Now, if this were a Western story, this is probably where things would end in a blaze of tragic glory. But Japan had different ideas. After his capture, Yasuke was handed over to the Jesuits, presumably because in the eyes of the Japanese, he was too foreign to be a proper samurai and too samurai to be anything else. So Yasuke disappears from history, his fate a mystery that is yet to be solved. Yasuke's story may have ended in uncertainty, but his legacy lives on. He remains a symbol of perseverance, adaptability, and the strange and wonderful ways that cultures can collide. His life offers a glimpse into a world where identities were fluid, where a man born in Africa could become a Japanese samurai, and where the boundaries between us and them could sometimes be crossed in the most extraordinary ways. Today, Yasuke is remembered in novels, films, video games, and anime. His life has been romanticized, fictionalized, and mythologized, but the core truth of his existence remains. Yasuke was a man who defined expectations, transcended boundaries, and in the end, carved out a place for himself in history. And really, isn't that what being a samurai is all about?
The thing that's really compelling to me about this, the way that his life ended, or the way that the transcribed historical record remembers him, is that it feels like a mythic, you don't want that guy to have an ending. The fact that he like kind of has this tragic downfall, but also maybe he doesn't, is like I think a key component to why he's remembered in the way that he is.
Yeah, the mysterious ending lends itself to the mythology, where if he had just died during that battle, then it would probably kind of go down in history as like, oh yeah, there was just this black samurai and then he lived this short life and died or whatever. But specifically the ambiguity at the end of it turns him into a folk legend.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it feels very Robin Hood. Not Robin Hood in the way that he's depicted, but like the actual folkloric, like Robin gets sick and goes and lives in a covenant? Whatever, the place where nuns live. He goes and lives with a bunch of nuns, but there's an evil one. A nun hole. He goes and lives in a nun hole with the nuns, but there's an evil one who leeches him and like he's never able to get better, and so this great man is brought down and he ends up inevitably being rescued by Little John, and who finds him there and says, Robin, what's become of you? And he's like, I just want to die in the forest, so get my bow and I'm gonna pull the drawstring and we'll fire an arrow out this window, and wherever that arrow lands, I want you to bury me there. And then he dies of the evilness that this woman has done to him, and ultimately he's able to lay at peace in this kind of like tragic but on his own terms way. And like that's what this story kind of feels like too, where it's like somebody has this wildly tragic backstory, but overcomes it, but is then subsumed by it, but also maybe not. Like, there's something so deeply romantic about it.
Yeah, and then eventually at one point, Bryan Adams comes along and he's like, everything I do it for you. Bow, now, now, now. Wow.
That's exactly how.
Look into my eyes and you'll see what's been done to me.
That's that. How did you know?
My glasses ran out. I had to get the red ones. I am so oppressed.
It's pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Yeah, here's the thing. It transitions itself over into the realm of a Robin Hood-esque folk legend, but like at the expense of the actual man.
Yeah,
because
that's what's
like,
so fucking sad about it. Yeah, totally, 100%.
Because he probably just died in a
absolutely
fucking cave being worked to death by these Jesuit people because he was a slave.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And that's fucked. But like we don't hear about that part. That part gets lost to time, and then he gets immortalized in the vacuum of the thing that we knew him from.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he used his samurai skills and escaped and lived off in the countryside somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah, you wanna see that. You want it to be a Django Unchained level of like he got revenge on everybody, and it was this super triumphant revenge story that ended up great, and he just rode off into the sunset. But unfortunately, similar to Django Unchained, which is one white man's power fantasy, it's designed to make white people feel good, and it's not necessarily the reality of the situation.
Yes.
But we at least we got that Assassin's Creed game.
Well, on that note, I'm Dave Baker.
I'm Andrew Price.
This has been Deep Cuts. If you'd like to find me on the internet, you can do so at heydavebaker.com. Also, please back our Patreon. Andrew, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me by going to dapricewrites.com and getting my book, Deadbolt AI Private Eye. You can find us by going to social media, following us on Facebook, searching Deep Cuts Podcast. You can join the Facebook group by searching Deep Cuts Podcast Facebook group. You can join our Discord server by going to bit.ly.com/deepcutsdiscord. We have a cool little community there that hangs out, talks about the show, plays games, so on and so forth. You can follow us on Instagram at Deep Cuts Pod. You can follow us on TikTok at Mystery Treehouse. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mystery Treehouse, by going to youtube.com/@mysterytreehouse, where we have a long form video essay explainer series. We have 4 videos out right now. We have a video that's like a sequel to the Andrew WK episode. That's like all the stuff that happened after we put the episode out. We have a video that is Dave breaking down the career of the Wachowskis. We have a video that is like the history of the band Boston and the fact that it was all created by one dude who built a recording studio in his basement. And then our most recent video is a video essay about the philosophy of cartoons, the fact that Mickey Mouse is not a mouse, he's a person. It's kind of like an exploration of the philosophical ideas about cartoons. That was a video that we put out last week. And this week we're going to be putting out a video that is Dave just talking about The Prisoner.
Ooh.
And
my favorite TV show of all time.
Yep, and we made a video that's like 40 minutes long of you just talking about it, and it's coming out.
It came out
soon.
40 minutes long?
It's probably less than that.
Wow.
I haven't fully looked at it, but it's a long boy.
It's a long boy. Love it. It'll get all the hits, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
It needs help.
Coming soon.
Go watch it, please.
And if you like what we do and you want to support us, you have a Patreon. bit.ly/deepcutspatreon, or you can go to patreon.com/mysterytreehouse. Both take you to the same place. And you can back us in 3 exciting ways. We have our Junior Sleuth tier, which is $5 a month, and you get a shout out in every episode of the show, and you also get access to the ad-free show on Patreon. You can become a Junior Sleuth Plus member for $6 a month. You get all of that, plus you get access to bonus content and discounts on merch and other cool stuff. And then for $10 a month, you get you're a Senior Sleuth. You get access to all that stuff, plus more bonus content, plus a monthly live stream episode, plus a bigger discount on merch and other cool stuff. So check that out, bit.ly/deepcuts Patreon. Check out the tiers. Back us if you want more stuff, or if you don't want to just support us financially. Based on the backer surveys, over half of our Patreon backers specifically back us just for financial support. They're not even interested in the bonus content. They just want to support what we do, which, like, we will continue to make the bonus content. We're going to provide you with that value, but we're deeply appreciative that like more than half of you are only backing us just to support what we're already doing, the free show that you can listen to for free. Very appreciative of that. But yeah, check it out, and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@mysterytreehouse.